Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with an early release of Monday's episode and today's Daily Comedy News. It's about 8:20 p.m. Sunday night. I just watched Trevor Noah open up the Grammy Awards, and as they say in comedy, he ate it. Not a good monologue at all. I had the laptop out and I was going to pull clips, and there's nothing to pull. Really flat monologue. Now, you may recall Joe Coy hosted the Golden Globes with 9 days' notice, if I remember correctly, and he didn't do all that well, although he was much better than Trevor was tonight. Trevor only got announced hosting this a few weeks ago, so maybe there is something to needing to work on these award shows for several weeks, but I wish I had more to say about Trevor. I'm on social media. People on Twitter and on Threads and Facebook as well. Nobody reacting well to Trevor Noah's monologue. It's still early. Maybe things will get better. The Grammy for Best Comedy Album went to Dave Chappelle for The Dreamer, his 2023 New Year's Eve Netflix special. That was the one where Dave joked, "I love punching down." So I'm sure we will have Dave Chappelle reaction pieces all week from the people who get mad that Dave Chappelle even exists. This is Dave's third win in a row in the category and his sixth win overall. So right now, he is the Tom Brady of comedy. I mean, 6 Grammys, 3 in a row, three-peat for Chappelle. Yeah, we'll break that down in the upcoming days. Nikki Glaser was at the Golden Globes. She found out walking into the arena she hadn't won. She said, "I already lost. I know what happens. They gave my award away already. Dave Chappelle got it. There's no ceremony like televised, so I'm getting my hair and makeup done, and it's already been determined that I didn't win." The comedy album was announced around 5 p.m. Eastern. I saw it in social media. And Nikki said, "No one texted me about it. I just had the most random person in my life goes, 'Dave Chappelle again.' I go, 'What are you writing about?' No one on my team, when it's bad news, wants to tell me. They just want you to find out the hard way." She was excited that Taylor Swift was going to be there. She said, "Taylor's not performing, but she's presenting, so I'll get to hear her talk and be poetic in that way. So I'll take it. I just can't wait to see what she's wearing. I can't wait to see her talk and maybe reveal something. You know, we're used to her announcing something. I'm so excited. It's been a while. I will not be bothering her. I'm going to play it cool. There's no need to be worried about what I'm going to do." All right, more about the Grammys on Tuesday's episode. In other news, for us old people, Netflix announced that Eddie, a new documentary about Eddie Murphy, will premiere sometime this year. In Eddie Murphy looks back on his extraordinary journey and looks ahead at what's still to come. The film chronicles his rise from teen comic phenom to SNL breakout and stand-up supernova to box office titan. I wonder if Eddie will be at SNL 50. I guess he absolutely will, especially if he's going to be promoting something like this, which is a victory lap. The doc illuminates the evolution of Eddie Murphy, the trails he blazed and records he broke on his way from Brooklyn upstart to Hollywood icon. You can tell several publicists and probably an agent and a manager worked on this paragraph. In the film, the Oscar-nominated actor opens up his home and dives deep into his eclectic, nearly 50-year career. In his own words, he talks about entertaining 3 generations of fans with a filmography that spans comedy, action, drama, animation, musicals, and family fare. Friends, co-stars, directors, and fellow comics offer insight into Murphy's singular life and career and the influence that it has had with breakthrough stand-up films like Raw, 80s mega hits Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, and Trading Places, through 90s classics like The Nutty Professor, the Shrek franchise, in the 2000s, to his Oscar-nominated performance in Dreamgirls. We kind of skipped the last 20 years there, I see. Dreamgirls came out in 2006, in case you're curious. I don't know if you know this, Amy Schumer's got a movie coming out on Wednesday, and Amy Schumer wants us to talk about her, so we will. Now, how will Amy get us to talk about her today? With this headline, Amy Schumer reveals harsh joke she told Adam Sandler after Adam Sandler fled from the wildfires. Now, I have the clip from The Tonight Show. I'm going to play it for you. I want you to pay close attention here. Pay close attention to poor Jimmy Fallon trying to pretend this is funny. Now, with the visual, Jimmy's doing that. The poor guy is just faking it. Here, let's listen.
Adam Sandler.
He's the greatest. What was it like working with Adam Sandler?
He's such a perfectionist. It's just what you hoped it would be. Because obviously, everyone, we've all grown up watching all of his movies, and it's like, don't you quote his movies twice a day by accident?
Yeah, of course.
You know,
yes.
Conditioner is better. It just happens. every day. Yeah. I did make a joke to him the other night that I don't know how this is going to go, but he was just, his family is like, some people, one of the people who've been affected by the wildfires. Yes. And, and he's sitting at this dinner with us. He's like, yeah, I just had to grab like 2 shirts and get out of there. And I'm looking at his shirt and I'm like, and you grabbed that one, Did you see the Hawaiian? I'm like, that's the one you went with? Because you gotta make your friends laugh.
Dad, he laughed. He laughed.
He
laughed.
He's a good audience.
We all need comedy, so we got to watch this movie.
Only 2 more days until Kinda Pregnant. Amy Schumer's movie is on Netflix on Wednesday. Can't wait. The Sydney Morning Herald caught up with Iliza Schlesinger. She's going to be at the Sydney Comedy Festival. That's not until April, but she was doing some early press. Iliza explained to be a successful comedian, you have to come up with funny observations that people can relate to, but they've never heard anyone say before. She explains, we're all thinking the same thing, so it's about tapping into the things people were too afraid to say. How you know it's a good joke is when people confess after, oh my God, I also shaved my big toe, or I've also had those weird thoughts about our principal, or something like that. The more vulnerable and honest we are as humans, the more we realize just how weird and connected we all are. The article tells us she's had 6 Netflix specials to date, 6, and has built up a fan base so passionate that some make art based on her work. Iliza said, to see my art digested and given back to me, presented on someone's shirt or in a painting or drawing, it's an incredible exchange. Although she has championed some liberal causes, she explains, I think you might have an idea of how I vote, but I kind of run down the middle politically. At this stage of my career, when you buy a ticket to see Iliza Schlesinger, you're buying a ticket to escape and to feel seen, not to come to a political rally. We'll save that for my online rants. I definitely have the freedom to say whatever I like, but because it's your freedom and your right doesn't mean it's always a good idea. I think people have to understand the intention, both the people being offended and the people enjoying it. My intention is always to entertain and uplift. It's never to hurt anyone's feelings. When people don't watch the full joke or someone's full hour, they remove intention, and then we're all just defending each other. I find that the people most nervous about the woke stuff tend to be white men who are tired of being told that they're wrong. The truth is, if you're not setting out to offend anyone for a cheap laugh, you're probably going to be okay. At the end of the day, we could all consider each other a little bit more. However, on the other side, I think people need to toughen up. So, per usual, right in the middle and take no side. James Austin Johnson was on Seth Meyers' show. He broke out an impression of Kamala Harris. Let's listen.
So this is Kamala Harris hosting a cooking competition. Here we go. Let's try it. I think what the American people want to know is, can the remaining 5 chefs take these family food classics, cheeseburger and fries, meatloaf and mashed potatoes, vegetable lasagna, and utilize those ingredients to create a 5-star gourmet meal for Debbie Mazar, Bobby Flay, and Michael Rappaport? You have 3 hours.
Not bad. As we recently discussed in the Facebook group, which is Daily Comedy News Podcast Group, feel encouraged to join us in conversation there. His Trump has been drifting a little bit. The Kamala, all right. I don't know what you do with it, especially at this point, but okay. The LA Times asked Gabe Iglesias how he got involved with Funko Pops. Gabe said, I wasn't a fan of them at first. I didn't know what they were. Someone pulled me aside and they're like, these are really popular. And I'm like, it's weird looking. I started looking into it. And the next thing I know, we make a phone call to Funko and said, hey, you guys have TV Funko Pops. You have movie Funko Pops. You don't have comedians. You guys should have comedians. There's a lot of funny comics out there. I told them I'm interested in being the first. And they're like, well, we know who you are, but that's not our thing. 2 years later, we tried again. They said, well, we know who you are and we're not interested in licensing. But if you're serious, we'll produce the figures for you. And you have to buy so many and you sell them. We won't even carry them in our stores, but we'll make them. Gabe said, the founder of Funko later admitted to me they should have licensed my doll when they could because I sold so many. I think we're on model number 11 now. It's about persistence. I think a lot of times people give up easily, and if at first you don't succeed, try again. From Chortle, Jemaine Clement, you know him from Flight of the Conchords. By the way, I don't know if you know this. At some point in my life, I switched universes. I can't explain this, but I became a slider. I'm from the universe where the guy on Flight of the Conchords, his name was Jemaine. There was an R in his name at some point where I'm from. But now I'm in this universe where I sit in the basement and I host a podcast. But where I'm from, his name was Jemaine Clement. And the woman from Game of Thrones was Lena Headey. There was an extra L in there where I'm from. I don't know what happened. You might say Mandela effect, but I'm telling you, I definitely switched universes. Anyway, Jemaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords will star in a Disney Plus comedy. All we know is it's a series from the makers of Baby Reindeer. No details about the plot, no details about the casting. Jeff Ross was at the Creative Coalition's Washington, D.C. event honoring military service organizations, and Ross ripped into some people who think that comedy should be watered down. Jeff said, people, they don't want their comedy watered down. They want it potent, right to the stomach, and that's what I try to do. The reporter asked, are certain topics off limits? Jeff said, no topics are off limits. No, the kind of comedy I've always done is okay for my fans. Roast fans are the most dedicated. They don't care about what any fake rules are. What's funny is funny, you know? There'll always be people who are going to pretend to be offended, but those are the people that offend me, you know, hypocrites. Quick stop on Gossip Corner. A source close to Pete Davidson tells people that Pete is still friends with pretty much all his exes, including Kim Kardashian. The insider also shared that nothing bad happened between him and Madeline Klein. It just ran its course. He and Kim still talk occasionally. He's a good guy, and they root for him. Jeremy Piven's going to be doing some stand-up comedy this week at the Arlington Improv on the 7th and 8th. Piven says, this has been an incredible journey. You have to face your fears, and one of my greatest fears was stand-up. So for about a decade now, I've been out there touring, just getting up on stage, working through it. It's been amazing. Being funny isn't enough. You can make people laugh, sure, but standing up there alone, it's a whole different game. You learn real fast. Your material has to land. You have to connect. Once you get that first laugh, though, it's like, okay, this is possible. He knows people think they're coming to see Ari Gold. He leans into it, and he says, I tell stories about having guys come up to me in a urinal, smacking on the back, like, I'm a douchebag because of you, and he laughs and says, like, dude, I'm just trying to pee here. That's your comedy news for today. If you enjoyed the program, tell a friend about it. Hopefully they'll like it too. If you have discovered this on YouTube, I set up a live 24/7 streaming channel. It just plays like the last 2 weeks of podcasts and some of the interview episodes in a loop. If you're finding the podcast this way, hey, thanks for listening. It's a daily podcast, as you figured out already. There's no video. It's just audio. I get frustrated sometimes. People click on a thing on YouTube and there's no video, and then they get mad at me that there's no video. I never said there was video. In fact, the description even says audio podcast. But if you found us on the loop, hey, welcome aboard. Appreciate you. If you've got a podcast app, that's a good way to consume the show. It comes out at 3:05 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 days a week. And if you would like the program without commercial interruption, there's a link in the show notes that'll tell you how to do that. See you here tomorrow.